Leprosy is one of the oldest diseases recorded in the world. Every year, a day is set aside to educate and support people living with the condition. This year's theme is Zero Disabilities in Girls and Boys. Today on Soundhealth, we'll find out how to manage leprosy. I'm Olasumbo. Welcome to the show. Muhammad Baba is living with leprosy. Like others, he has been living in the Lepers Colony for more than 20 years.
We have been here for 21 years. Since Marwa. Marwa is the sole administrator of this Lagos state. He is the one that bring us from Kano Street to here. We have blind, lepers, cripples, and deaf and dumb. These are the four disabilities that we have. Approximately 2,000 plus, both female and male. We have our products. Some go to school. Those that don't go to school, they do petty trading. That's the healthy ones. That's our products. And because, we don't want our children to be as we are. We have to train them because our children are the future leaders of tomorrow. So we want them to be trained in the school. Let them get Western education.
Right behind me is the destitute home, Okobaba, home to about over 2,000 Nigerians that are physically challenged. This structure houses the lepers and it also lacks basic amenities. The community was established by the former military administrator of Lagos State, Major General Buba Marwa, over 20 years ago. Leprosy is one of the oldest recorded diseases in the world. It is an infectious chronic disease that targets the nervous system, especially the nerves in the cooler parts of the body, the hands, feet, and face.
When we use the word contagious, we have to be very careful. Because when we talk about infectious diseases, they have different modes of transmission. So in terms of being contagious, leprosy is contagious. How is it transmitted? It can be transmitted via droplets. Basically, somebody that has leprosy, they secrete their secretions, mainly mucus, saliva, that is dropped. Another person can pick it up from there. Also, prolonged contact with somebody that has leprosy. Those are the ways of transmitting the infection. We have what we call possibacillary and multibacillary. Basically, in terms of those words that I've just used, we're talking about in relation to the clinical manifestation or clinical symptoms that the patient will show. So those that have possibacillary, their lesions are actually fewer compared to those that have multibacillary. And the signs and symptoms varied depending on an individual, but the earliest one that usually seen are actually skin manifestation, because this Mycobacterium leprae that causes leprosy that we'll talk about actually affects skin and nerve endings. So usually what we see is areas of hypopigmented areas on the skin, meaning a part of the skin that is lighter than the other part of the skin. And in those areas, if care is not taken, usually an individual might notice loss of sensation. The feeling there might be reduced. Also, in some instances, sweating around that particular part is reduced compared to the other parts of the body. Those are the early symptoms of leprosy that patient can present with.
Going by the World Health Organization's Global Health Observatory Data Repository, no fewer than 212,000 persons were newly affected by leprosy globally in 2015. According to these statistics, Nigeria is third among African countries with the highest burden of leprosy with 43,179 cases. The second highest burden of leprosy in Africa is situated in the Democratic Republic of Congo with 4,237 cases and Ethiopia with 3,970 cases. The recent report shows that Nigeria relapsed after the achievement of being delisted from the list of endemic nations with leprosy in 1999.
Basically, one problem with leprosy is the stigmatization. If people present early, you can imagine an individual that has leprosy and they know that, oh, what happened then for anybody that has leprosy, they have to be sent out of the community. They won't want to present early. But in this situation, if we have early presentation, treatments can be given, and at the end of the day, the person will be cured of the disease. Even those that are presenting late, they can still receive the treatment and be cured of the disease.
World Leprosy Day is observed yearly to support those suffering from leprosy and educate those taking care of people living with the disease. This year, the theme is Zero Disabilities in Girls and Boys, with focus on promoting a healthy future and preventing children from developing disabilities associated with leprosy.
Despite being eliminated globally as a public health problem in 2000, leprosy continues to mar the lives of individuals and affect families and communities. In 2015, leprosy had affected an additional 212,000 people globally, 60% of whom were in India. The other high-burden countries were Brazil and Indonesia. Among new cases, 8.9% were children and 6.7% presented with visible deformities. The World Health Organization stresses that though present numbers are a fraction of what had been reported a decade earlier, they are still unacceptable as an effective treatment for leprosy, multi-drug therapy, has been available since the 1980s and could fully cure the disease.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention reports that close to 19,000 children were diagnosed with leprosy in 2016. The effects of leprosy are worsened by the negative stigma surrounding the disease.
In all honesty, I've never been to Lepers community, but it's something that one can easily reason out. These are people that are isolated, and you know the stigmatization that we talk about. When people know that these people are coming from Lepers community, they are going to move away from them, nobody will want to go into such community. So in terms of living condition and welfare, definitely you cannot compare it to what you have in you and I, that we can easily move freely in the society. The number one thing that I have to debunk is that leprosy is curable. The drugs are readily available. We have the leprosy unit in the Ministry of Health that the drugs are readily available. So anybody that has leprosy, or you know of anyone that has leprosy, advise them to present early. Early detection, right treatment, and you can be rest assured that the disease will be cured.
As part of ways to mitigate the negative notions about the disease and reiterate interventions, the Minister of Health confirmed that the federal government has launched the 5-year National Leprosy and Buruli Ulcer Strategic Plan between 2016 and 2020, as this would eliminate the disease in the endemic state. The effects of leprosy are worsened by the negative stigma surrounding the disease. Early diagnosis and improved treatment are key in eradicating leprosy in the country. That piece was on managing leprosy. Hope you've learned a few things about managing the condition. Up next is Trending and Home Essentials. Please stay with us. The program continues shortly. Well, this is where we say thank you on today's edition. Hope you've learned a few things about managing leprosy. For comments and inquiries, please send SMS on 0818-815-3695 or follow us on social media at LTV Social, #Soundhealth. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.